The cafeteria on Coronado Naval Base was loud in the way only a military chow hall could be. Steel chairs scraping, boots thudding against tile, laughter bouncing off concrete walls. It was just afternoon, and most of the SEALs were halfway through their meals, trading stories, insults, and exaggerated heroics. At one of the long tables sat a group of operators still in partial gear, sweat-darkened shirts clinging to their backs. That was when she stepped in. She didn't wear a uniform, no rank insignia, no name tape, just a plain gray hoodie, hair pulled back tight, posture straight without being stiff. She carried herself like someone who belonged, even if she looked like she didn't. A few heads turned, not because she was flashy, but because something about her didn't fit the usual categories. She grabbed a tray, moved efficiently down the line, and scanned the room for an open seat. The SEALs noticed her immediately. One of them nudged another and smirked. "Civvy?" he muttered. Another shook his head. "Nah, look at her walk." They watched as she approached their table, nodding politely. "Mind if I sit?" she asked. Her voice was calm, even, carrying none of the hesitation most outsiders had when surrounded by special operations personnel. One of the men shrugged. "Free country." She sat, placed her tray down carefully, and began eating without ceremony. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the jokes started. It always did. One of the younger SEALs leaned back in his chair, grin sharp. "So," he said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "what's your rank?" A couple of snickers rippled through the group. Another added, "Yeah, you lost or something?" The tone was playful, not cruel, at least not yet. She didn't look up immediately. She took another bite, chewed, swallowed. The pause stretched just long enough for the laughter to fade slightly. Then she looked up, meeting his eyes directly. "My rank?" she repeated. A faint smile touched her lips, but it wasn't amused. It was measured, controlled. "I don't wear one anymore." That got a few raised eyebrows. Someone scoffed. "So you're retired?" Another SEAL chuckled. "What were you, admin?" A nearby table laughed louder, sensing entertainment. The cafeteria buzzed with attention now. She set her fork down slowly. "I was a chief," she said. The table quieted a notch. Chiefs were no joke, but skepticism lingered. "Sure," one of them said, "and I was an astronaut." She didn't react. Instead, she reached into her hoodie pocket and pulled out a small, worn object, placing it on the table between the trays. It was a trident, scratched, faded, unmistakable. Not a novelty pen, not a souvenir, the real thing. The laughter died instantly. One SEAL's smile vanished. Another straightened in his seat. "Where did you get that?" someone asked quietly. She didn't answer. Instead, she pushed the trident slightly forward, turning it so the engraving caught the light. A name, a number, a Buds class date from over a decade ago. The cafeteria froze. Conversations around them dropped off one by one, like dominoes falling in reverse. A senior officer standing near the drink station slowly lowered his cup. One of the SEALs swallowed hard. "That class," he started, then stopped. He looked at her again, really looked this time. The scars on her knuckles, the faint burn mark along her wrist, the posture that no civilian ever faked. "You were declared MIA, he said under his breath. She nodded once. 10 years ago. The silence was absolute now. Even the kitchen noise seemed distant. "We thought you were dead," one of the SEALs said, voice barely above a whisper. "Most people did." She picked up her fork again, as if discussing the weather. It was easier that way. Someone asked the question no one wanted to voice. "So, what happened?" She paused, then shrugged. "Mission went bad. Bad intel, worse timing. My team didn't make it out." A heavy weight settled over the table. "I did, barely. Spent years off-grid doing things that don't show up in after-action reports." The young SEAL who'd first joked about her rank looked sick. "Chief," he said quietly. She shook her head. "Not anymore." A commanding voice cut through the silence. "Stand up." It was the base commander who had approached without anyone noticing. Every SEAL at the table was already on their feet before the order finished. She stood too, instinctively, though she didn't snap to attention. The commander looked at her, eyes sharp, then glanced at the trident on the table. His expression changed, hard professionalism giving way to something like awe. "Is it true?" he asked. She met his gaze. "Yes, sir." He took a breath, then did something no one expected. He raised his hand and saluted her. Every SEAL in the cafeteria followed suit instantly, chairs scraping as dozens of operators snapped to attention. The sound echoed like thunder. She froze, stunned for the first time. "Sir, you don't have to." He cut her off gently. "Yes, I do." His voice carried across the room. "You earned it." For a long moment she stood there, surrounded by salutes, the weight of a decade crashing down at once. Then she returned the salute, sharp, precise, muscle memory untouched by time. When it ended, the room exhaled as one. She picked up the trident, slid it back into her pocket, and reached for her tray. The commander stepped aside, giving her space. As she walked towards the exit, the young SEAL who'd made the joke spoke again, voice thick. "Chief?" She paused. "I'm sorry." She looked back at him, really looked, and nodded. "Learn fast," she said. "That's how you stay alive." Then she was gone. The cafeteria remained silent long after the doors closed behind her, every man there suddenly aware that legends didn't always come in uniform, and that sometimes the most dangerous person in the room was the one you almost laughed at. For more thrilling, emotional, and unforgettable stories, don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and share with friends.